is up, everyone? Michael Damon here with the latest episode of Starbeam.one, Stand Up and Shine and Shill. A show I put together to keep people up to date with Starbeam.one, my project I've been working on since 2019. And this week, this episode marks 1 full year that I announced the preview of Starbeam.one, the alpha, on 2/22/2022. And 1 year later, it is 2/21/2023, and tomorrow will be the 1 year anniversary, but we do these on Tuesdays. And so it's a kind of a major event here, and we'll get into it with so much more detail. The show is based on agile methodologies where you tell your teammates what you've been working on and what you're going to be working on, any sort of friction points that you are encountering. And what I've added is so much more. Let's begin. Goodness, I'm just so far behind. I'm supposed to have this filmed and done by now, like 1 o'clock, and I'm just now getting started. It's 1:30, and people are actually starting to ask, like, when it's going to be done? I want to see it. I want to watch it, which is awesome, right? But it's also a little bit of added pressure for me, which I'm okay with. It's just like I want to be on schedule, and I'm usually really good with my time, and today has been bad, very bad with my time here. And the reason why is because we have Alpha 2. Alpha 2 has been a huge focus here for the past 2 weeks, and I got mostly everything done. The important parts are done now. So now we have 3 markets, and as I mentioned, this is a 1 year anniversary of the preview. Keep in mind, a year ago, it was just to get it out there. So we just wanted to have, I wanted to have something that was out there because I had been developing it for 2.5 years, and I just got to the point where it's like, I need to get something out there to start getting feedback, because it's just me by myself, not getting any feedback. And, who knows what I have right and what I had wrong. It turns out I had a lot wrong, right? Now here we are a year later, and we're starting to get better around that, what people expect or what people want. And we're doing it with these 3 markets. So, we really started, I had this announced a year ago, and then we really didn't start until September. And that was when I onboarded our first artist here, Dev, Imagine, and he was our first artist, and that was September 5th of 2022. And so, I announced this in February, and it wasn't until September until we got our first artist. And really, that's when it started, with September, I feel. It's like, okay, now we got our first customer, and we started getting a lot of feedback, and then, it just grew from there. And so now we have our 3 markets kind of rounding out the point here. We started out with AI, and we still have AI with the standard market. And then we wanted to improve the AI experience a little bit with the products that we're offering, and this is the featured. So now the standard is just images. So it's, we have this whole notion of having a product that you can put together, and that's in the featured. But the standard is just a regular image, and that's it. And the price point is about 1 flare. It can go from 0.5 or 50 cents to up to $2 for the price points there for the standard market. And it's just an image. It's all you can do for the standard market. And the featured adds on top of that, and that's where our products come back in. And so there you can have different kinds of products, like books or videos or whatnot. And so that's our featured, and that can start at 2, and it goes up to 10 flare, I believe, but the default price is 5 flare. And so that's our featured market. And we added this new market, this traditional market, right? So the standard and featured are AI, and so that's AI generated, and that's how this all started, right? And there's still this other component where when I started this back in 2019, there was traditional, doing handmade work with a tablet, or drawing something with a pencil and then scanning it in, or just doing photography or things of that nature. So that's the new traditional market. It has a higher price point, and so it says 20, but the default is actually 10, and you can do 20, but you get a lot of capacity with this market. So we really kind of want to emphasizing this along with the AI markets, but that's sort of how we're structuring this. So now we have our 3 markets, and we also have deposit and withdrawal limits have been increased, and so that right now our deposits, we can have up to $100 deposits right now with PayPal, Stripe, or Coinbase Commerce, and then our withdrawal limits have been increased to 25. And then finally, this is kind of like a big news today, is that we've hit our 1,000. We're over 1,000. We'll get into it in the next slide here, with 1,000 all-time sales volume. And today alone, we have over $100 or 100 flares of volume. Let's get to that. Ooh, okay, already getting my marathon mode here. And here we are. We're in the dashboard, and this is kind of the Shill segment. I'm going to kind of walk through. It's going to be a little longer episode, I believe, today. And to start off with a dashboard, to get to the dashboard, you go here to the hamburger menu, and you just click that, and then we have a few more sections here. I kind of do some shilling here with our market. So now you can go to the standard, featured, traditional, and resales, and we'll kind of get into a little bit more of how that's structured here on the site now. We've got our catalogs with the different sections here, but if you want to find the dashboard, just click on dashboard and it will take you to the screen. And this is where all of the relevant statistics are at. And so as you can see, we've got 37 artists and 55 collectors, and we're approaching 2,000 sales, and we just passed $1,000 or 1,000 flares of volume. So that's just a huge deal for me personally. Like I mentioned a few episodes, I've really been coding, I've been developing for such a long time now, and I haven't done anything like this where it's making money and, producing money and transferring money. It's a marketplace, right? This is like a super, super duper ambitious project. And so by far and away, the most ambitious project ever, endeavored upon. And so here we are, and it is working, right? It's at the early stages. And one thing I just want to mention is that there have been very little problems with exceptions or, really major problems of that along those lines. And, things that we've been encountering are really like, today we had a problem with settings. And so I had the value changed in code, but it wasn't changed in configuration, and that required an additional deployment. So just things of that nature. There haven't been really any major like, this data is inaccurate or, a system process failed or anything of that nature. So, okay, so moving along here, get to the important part. We're getting more user accounts, and the other thing too is our visitors have kind of dropped a little bit these past 2 weeks. I haven't really been promoting, but this past day has been, right now already we're at almost 250 visitors, which by far and away makes up for the past couple of weeks. And so, the past couple of weeks has been kind of slower. I'd say about 100 a day, but you can see right now we're already at 1,000, which is kind of like our target metric. And we're starting to build back up to 5,000. We were easily over 5,000 at one point. Okay, so user counts, we're at 112 now, and we're getting a few more a day. And something you'll notice here is that we're starting to get some deviant art accounts. So those are starting to build up a bit. And we've got, Twitter is still far and away the most that we have, and Google is most that we have for collectors. Okay, so let's move on here, and we'll move here to the production statistics and how many licenses are being produced. We have 60 already today, and we're starting to build up to 3,000 to approach our 3,000th license. And so one thing I want to mention, I haven't mentioned this yet, but we do delineate now between active and total. So we have this notion of recalling an issuance. And so what happens to those licenses when you recall an issuance? Well, they get destroyed. They're no longer in the system, but they still exist. They still have a record in our database. So they're still there. So we kind of denote that with this bottom number here, and it's bigger. But the ones that are not recalled and that are actively being traded in the system, that's what these actives are here. So when you say how many have been produced, that's what's this total number here, but how many have been active or actually being in the market and being traded? That's almost here. So, or that is there. So that's kind of breaking that down. I haven't actually explained that yet, but that's how that works. And so now we'll kind of scroll to the good stuff here. So here we've got over 100 flares of volume today, which is amazing, right? And you can just see how much of an impact that is, right? And this is with the traditional market, right? So all of our prices are increasing, and the market's responding to that, right? And that's really exciting, and that's exactly what we wanted, and that's working. So that's really good to see. And you can see here over our the total all time is over 1,000 there, and we can move down here to our withdrawals. We had a few withdrawals today already. We've got 65 flares or $65 that have been sent back out into the real world there. So that's also starting to grow as well. And we did increase the limits, like I said, so that's going to start taking more of a significance here as well. And this is how we make money. This is how we pay our bills. And you can just see $10. That is awesome. And so that's starting to increase as well. And we can scroll on to the numbers here. And hopefully this says 0 at the very bottom. Everything is equal and even and balanced as we expect. Okay, so now let's move into the front page here, because I want to get into some shilling. And this is, so what have we done? And so we've got a few new products here. And, one of the things that we were hearing is this grid control. We're using a grid control. It's still around in a lot of places, but it's just not nearly as awesome as these pretty pictures. People want to see the pretty pictures and have an idea of what the product's about. And so what we did, we took some time and made it so that you can just page through it right here on the front page. So you just click these two big buttons here on the left and right, and you can page through and see the entire catalog or the entire sets of products that are being displayed here. By default, we show you the latest. So right now, this is the absolute latest of every artist that's on the site. And so it's just going to be one per artist. So you can actually get a sense of how many artists there are. And so we've got 3 pages of artists here, and this is their absolute latest. And then we've got this other tab, this recent tab, which is the last 5. So it's a little bit, has a little bit more products to it. And so you can see that here, and you can also filter this one. And so there are more products here, so you can filter through it, and you can see here, so it's the last 5 of every artist there. And so there's that. And then finally, we've got this random tab, and it is exactly what it says it is, and it is random, and it is so random that every page is random. It's just paging through, and so you can page to one page, and then if you page back, it's a completely different page. So I kind of cheated there. I kind of got lazy, but it's actually kind of cool, right? It's just random. Every single page is a random page. So we got that now for our front page, and so we also kind of want to showcase here our markets, or different markets, and I'm going to scroll back up to our markets, and I'm just going to show the traditional, and this is our traditional. These are handmade, hand-drawn products that we have, and so that is the featured, the actual featured content is hand-drawn. We still allow AI to be used for the packaging, so you can use AI for the packaging, for the covers, for the backgrounds, everything, but the actual featured content must be hand-drawn or digitized, or cannot be generated. It's a huge challenge of trying to describe exactly what it is, because we don't want to do the NFT thing. Right? Excuse me. We don't want to do the NFT thing where, it's non-fungible tokens. So you have a negation in there each and every time you say it. So it's a negation, and you're like, okay, what is it you're trying to say? And now say the opposite of that. We don't want that, right? We want to have a very clear and concise, description of what it is. And so traditional is what we landed on. And that traditional is the featured content. And, we already have here higher prices. We're ranging anywhere from, as you can see, from 8 to 20. And I have mine here, and I'm very happy to say that I've had a few of these sell already. We've got 3 of them sold. And so we've got 2 remaining here. But you can see, right, people just hand draw these, and it's a refreshing change for me personally, because you see AI and it's so great, right? It's like the best. And now here you've got, human, right? And we still want to cherish that. We still want to promote that. We still want to endorse that. And here it is with our own market. And so I'm just going to click. I hate being so self-absorbed here, but I just kind of want to click on mine because I'm very happy with this. But you can just see here, I also just kind of want to demonstrate that AI is still being used here for the cover. You can see the cover here, and we've got a watermarked version of the product of the drawing that I made, and that is based on an AI drawing, but this is an actual, this is a physical drawing that I made on a digital tablet, and so that is being sold here. And the other thing, I don't know if I've gone through this yet, but we also have the ability to see other products that are produced by our publishers now. So as an artist, as you go down their the products to storefront, you can see the different products that they have, and that's you can see the newest are on top and the oldest are on bottom, and so it's just really just coming together. And finally, a lot of tabs here, these last 3 tabs. If you want to see the activity like who bought what, we now have a social networking type feature here where you can see who bought what, and so you can for every product storefront, if you want to have an idea of who purchased something, you can click on this and you can see the profile, and you can click on them and go visit their profile and see what other collections they have or what other items they have in their collection. And for our next version, we're going to have the ability to bid, so you can view someone's collection and then you can bid on them and get that and make a bid for it, and hopefully they'll accept it and you can have it. So that's a really big feature that we're going to be working on. And finally, if you want to see other activity from the publisher, you can see that here in this tab. And if there's any resale listings, I don't know if I have any. I do have a few resale listings out there of my products. And so, yeah, go check it out. And if you like anything, buy it. All right, next slide. Oh my goodness, that's a lot of shilling. I haven't shilled like that in a long time. And so that's sort of the section that we're using for the shill. I used to have dedicated features section for that, and I'm wrapping everything into the statistics in the dashboard. Okay, so what did I do? I just got done showing everything there, the Alpha 2, got the markets and the product grid. I don't think I need to go much more detail than that. Okay, so what am I doing? There were some features from Alpha 2 that I mentioned last time that didn't make it, so I'm going to be focusing on that right now. First and foremost, our documentation is not consistent right now with the features, the deployed features, which is a huge no-no. in software development. And so I need to make that first and foremost priority. And then I know I mentioned this last time with the email policy, got to make it so that email is required so that we can have better support and have a better idea of who's actually using our site. And then finally, here with announcements, I mentioned that as well. Did not make it into Alpha 3, Alpha 2, but it's going to make it into Alpha 3. And on that note, kind of just want to really briefly talk about the features I've got planned for Alpha 3. We've got these announcement bots, adjustments, as I mentioned. One thing that kind of talk about this with the friction points is that Blazor has this problem right now and it's been around for quite some time with the circuit management. And so I'm going to make it so that basically what happens is an artist is typing in information and then they alt tab away from the browser, or I make a deployment and they lose their state and they have to retype everything. And that's really, I should have probably fixed this a long time ago, but I'm going to be fixing that here for Alpha 3. And so past that, we've got Treasure Market. I know I mentioned this a few times. I'm going to start being a little bit quiet about this because it seems like this is one of those things. The more I talk about it, the further it gets pushed back. So I'm not going to talk more about that, but that's in the plans for Alpha 3. And then we've got activity pages. I want to have a little bit more like we just saw with the activity of what's happening with the site. So on the welcome page, I want to have an activity list of, something sold. Hey, here you are. Here's what sold and who bought it, sort of thing. And then from there, we've got administration CMS. I want to have a little bit more control right now over products that are being deployed to the marketplace, because there's not a lot of control if we want to take a product down. Right now, the only thing I can do is disable the account. So it's kind of a heavy-handed way of approaching that. So I want to fix that. And I want to get that addressed. And then it's kind of the remainder here. I talked about bids. Getting it so that you can bid on someone's item in their collection, and we've got a referral program. It's something I've had on the plate here for a while. I'm hoping to get to that here for Alpha 3, and then finally having authentication, right? A user account. Want to have improvements around that. So what happens when your Twitter account gets suspended? Well, is there a way that we have a backup? We want to get to that. It's really important. And then being able to delete and disable accounts. We don't have that. And finally, there's this whole problem of having a same person, same human being, but different identities, and they accidentally created 2 accounts. Well, now we want to have the ability to merge them. So hopefully we get all that into Alpha 3, and that's slated right now for 4/4, so April 4th, 2023. All right. Yeah, it's a little bit longer episode here. I can already tell I'm over time, but it's a 1-year anniversary of the preview announcement. So it's for a good cause. Okay. So moving on to our friction points. This is kind of the slide where I talk about things I'm encountering friction in with the various parts of the development cycle. And I've got Hide the Pain Herald here to assist me. And, with Microsoft, it usually has its own column dedicated to it. And, at one point it was a lot more. And so now we're just down to these few, but they are kind of big ticket items, as they say. And I did a search on a name here for Mr. David. We'll call him Mr. David because it's easier to say, but I did a search for his last name and I typed it in on Google and it was Wengier. So that's what they said. And if it's wrong, we can go blame Google, but I'm going to call you Mr. David. Going on just to keep things simpler. And, thank you again for your assistance there at GitHub. It's great. Like I've been mentioning a few episodes now that, GitHub is just amazing now with having the ability to talk directly to Microsoft Teams and also, developer community. Microsoft has their own dedicated forum, so to speak, of connecting directly to Teams there. And that's awesome. So it's such a great time right now to be able to talk. And, with Mr. David, he is playing the role of counselor and psychologist. So at the very least, I have someone to talk to about my grief and you're listening. And that's probably at the end of the day, what's most important, right? And it also gives me a chance to practice my people skills because I am in grief and I'm also kind of frustrated too, right? And it's also learning. I've mentioned this a few times, especially when there were a lot more there in the Microsoft column of just learning how to be a professional and learning how to, be polite, even though you are in the face of frustration there. And so that's kind of what's great now about these different services, is having the opportunity to do that. And so with that out of the way, we still have this Azure problem, and I haven't heard anything about a week, and it's still causing issue, and it's like the highest level of priority right now. So they're really having trouble figuring out what is going on there, and I'm hoping I'm going to hear something here in the next day or so. And then finally, we've got this Razor rendering issue in ReSharper, and it's been going on for almost 2 years now. And so this is something that has just been really a huge issue. And it's one of those things where when I first saw it, I'm like, this is definitely going to get fixed in the next release, right? Because I've seen this before with JetBrains products, and JetBrains, when something like this has happened, and I've been a customer of JetBrains and ReSharper for, I want to say, over 15 years now, a long time. And when something like this happens where you've got discoloration or symbols don't load or you can't navigate, it's usually fixed, in my experience, and this is my impression, it's usually fixed within the next version. And here we have this problem with ReSharper Razor rendering not rendering the way that it should be. And it's been going on for almost 2 years now. And I reported it in April of 2021. And it's sort of just amazing to even think about. It's already almost been 2 years. But that's when I reported, and I provided my solution under NDA to help diagnose this issue. And it's still a problem. And it's just like, wow, I cannot recall for me any time that this has taken so long. So this is now officially on the points of friction here with Hide the Pain Herald, and we're going to be keeping track of this going forward. Okay, Kudos. I have not done this in a while, and I just kind of wanted to take some time here with the year anniversary of the preview announcements to kind of take some time to, share some appreciation because, I started doing this section after friction points of just basically, it sounded like I was complaining all the time, and I wanted to have a slide where I do not that. And at the top of the list here is Jason Kless. I have have a few encounters with Mr. Jason, and I just kind of want to take some time here and share my appreciation for your help and your patience and your professionalism in dealing with me. Because again, it's just like every time I talk with Mr. Jason here, something's wrong. And, I bet that's just not very fun, or, I get kind of worried about my impression of myself with that, even though I try to be as professional as possible and not, share my frustration as much as it is. I just kind of want to make sure, Jason, you understand that I very much appreciate you taking the time to put up with me and to help me out, right? And so there was an issue that we had with Visual Studio and the extensions. Another one of those issues where it was like over a year and we haven't heard anything, and it's just like, is this going to happen or not? And it turns out it's not. And, just getting that said took a while, and, getting my nag cannon, as I call it, out there just to basically start pestering people like, hey, what is going on here? It looks really bad to say something's on a roadmap and nothing's being said, and nothing's being said even though we're asking for it, sort of thing. And, we had 18 votes for it, and it went up to 19 after I started pestering. So it's one of those things that the longer you allow people pestering about it, the more attention it gets. And so anyways, Jason, appreciate your professionalism in helping me out. And now we know the answer to that. And it looks like there's Maya as well. Thank you, Maya, for chiming in and writing a very professional reply there to all my nagging, and very much appreciate that as well, and letting us know what is going on with that. Okay, so kudos to you, and wanted to move here to the community, right, and to our product, to starbeam.one, and number one is our collectors, right? So we've got our collectors that really make our application sing right now, and Jason J, and we've got Justin, and we have Parker, and those are our big collectors. And I know we have a few more, but really you guys are really helping us out, and we really exist now because of you and all of your participation. So thank you for being there from the start and getting us to a point of where we are now, and for just helping us out, and also just supporting us artists. It's been awesome. And with that, I just kind of want to finish here with the Discord community. I went through and I have a list of all the people that have been really active with Discord, and this is like the award ceremonies, right? I feel bad if I'm going to miss anyone, but I'm just going to kind of go through the list here, and hopefully I get everyone. And if I don't, I'm going to post it on the comment section for YouTube so you can see yourself there if I missed you. So real quickly, we've got Dev, Imagine, the first artist. Thank you for all your help and helping us make a community here. And we've got IO Concept Eric, and we got Wilogate June. I got your shirt here. I purchased it. Another artist, and this is really kind of great having artists from other points of view of, not really doing digital art, but just selling things like t-shirts and whatnot and getting their perspective. So that's been awesome. We got Elizabeth, Liza, Sebastian, Bob, Lilyuni, ImFreakingBasic. I know you have a few other nicknames, but we're not going to say those here. But thank you to you and Joshuati, Stormy Art Images, Snapcasey. We have 3 kings. We've got King Pezint, King O'Light, and King in Yellow. We've got Sappy. We've got Redesign. We've got Arie. Dreaming of Sondos, Aubre. And we've got Meganne, Ms.OT, and Metalinangelo. We got Luna Mage, and then we got a new one, Pugz-n-Hugz. We got, Pugs are sort of a theme we've got going on here, so welcome aboard. HappyDoji and Cyberwizard, thank you for all your valuable feedback. And of course, we have Popi and Magnus, the 2 Leos in my life. And thank you so much for helping us with our community and making it as great as it is. All right, next slide here. Yes, okay. This is kind of a burner. We're going to get through it. Okay, so we've got, we're going to talk about effectiveness levels. This is sort of just talking to our teammates about how we feel about things. And we're kind of breaking this down different levels. And right now, with 1,000 flares of volume and 100 flares, I'm feeling really good. It's probably more like a 10, but I'm just going to kind of level myself out with an 8.5 overall morale. Technology, I've kind of bumped it up a bit. One thing I didn't mention with a resharper with the friction points is that resharper did fix one of the problems, so things are feeling a little bit snappier now. Marketing, the Gordian knot, right? It's just so baffling. Like how are there just so many people that are out there and so little people care about what you're doing, right? It's just sort of the huge question. I was at 5.5. It's really challenging. It's still challenging, but feeling a little bit better about things, especially when things happen, right? Like when we're able to brag that we've got 1,000 flares of volume or 100 in one day, hopefully that starts getting people's attention, right? And we're able to say these things. And I kind of feel bad bragging all the time online. I'm trying to keep that tempered, but it's still one of those things that's just a necessary evil, and you have to learn how to get better with it, sort of thing. Support, always feeling a little bit better about this than others, and that remains an 8. Okay, home stretch here. It's going to be a 30-minute episode. It's been a while since I did that. I think when I first started, every episode was 30 minutes. And here we are. We're going to be going down a home stretch. And I just realized that I did miss someone, and that is Lee. Put it in the AI, Lee. Thank you for all your creativity. You get a special dedication here. I knew I was going to forget someone. That's why I didn't want to do it, but I braved anyway. And I know I'm probably going to forget 2 or 3 others that I won't be able to mention here because I'm going to forget it and be like, oh, I'm going to have to put that in the description. So here you are, Lee. Thank you for all your help, and looking forward to working with you here in the future. I'm not going to give away any more of the secrets yet. We're going to have to find out what we're working on with that with everyone else out there. And so with that, 1 year ago, I went out and I declared, this is what I'm doing, and no one cared. No one cared about what I had to say, or a few friends did. And so, personally they did, but no one else cared. And it's still kind of all that same now. Like even a year later, it's still such like I get back to marketing. No one really cares, it seems, but we have 70 people in our Discord channel now, and that seems like they care, right? So I've got at least 70 people, and we're starting to get people on Twitter. We've got 200 followers on Twitter, so people do care. It's just a feeling, right? That's an initial feeling. You can't discount your feelings, and that's how I feel, right? It's also better to talk about your feelings, I found, and so that's just a year ago. That's what I did, is I put myself out there, and I learned a lot. And it was like first 2 months were just basically fixing bugs, right? I kind of fell flat on my face, and it didn't work. Like there were just things that were happening in the environment that were really challenging. And so that happened, and here we are a year later, and I feel so much better about things. Here we are, our first 100 flare, $100 day. And don't look now, but that is 1/6 of the way through to being break even. So if we make $600 a day in volume, we break even with our bills. So just keep that in mind. And that's kind of what we're looking at. And here, it's starting to grow. So that's really exciting. And I'm going to try to keep us under 30 minutes. Thank you to everyone out there for all of your purchases and all of your support. And thank you for paying attention to these. I can't believe how many people actually watch these. And it's just awesome. Thank you so much. And until next time, stay safe out there and stay bright. Goodbye.